Hi, I'm Don Spillane, President of Designing Financial Solutions, and this is further in our series, The Essentials of Long-Term Care, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Donene Kistler, who's going to talk about caring for her mom.
Well, my name is Donene, and I had the privilege of caregiving for my mom, and this is a little bit of a background as to what that was for me and my mom, and how that affected me. Really, it was kind of a perfect storm of events. It was the beginning of the downturn of the economy, and therefore I was laid off, and then my mom's health started to decline. It begins that way, as a gentle decline, and you don't really know how long you're going to be involved. At first, it was a broken shoulder, and so then there was surgery, rehab, physical therapy. I helped her at home in between her home nurse coming and giving her physical therapy, and I would work with her on the days in between. I would, on the days she did have physical therapy, I would drive her to her appointments and wait, for her to be finished, and then bring her back home. And of course, I'm thinking that I'm going to be able to get back on my feet and get back into the workforce and get back into my life. And that was the plan. And then the next thing happened. She had to have hip replacement. So then we went through, getting her to surgery for her hip replacement, rehab, of course, physical therapy, the same thing again, and which takes weeks and weeks and weeks. And again, it's a new normal. It's a new normal for her, and then it's a continuation of delay for me being able to get back to my life and get back into the workforce, etc. And then ultimately, the cancer diagnosis came, and then everything stops and everything changes. And so then it's treatments and pain management. I mean, I liaised with the doctors and the nurses and the triage nurses, pharmacists for medications, follow-up appointments with the doctors, et cetera, et cetera. And then, as her activities of daily living, her bathing requirements, her ability to walk, she needed a walker, getting her back and forth to the bathroom, sometimes showering her, cooking for her, taking over the household duties, so that became a big part of it, managing her household. As she got closer, towards the end of her life, there was the heartbreak of you're basically watching your parent slowly die. And you're aware of it, but you're so into it that you're just trying to be there for them, trying to honor their dignity, and trying to comfort. And but it was very heartbreaking to watch her begin to lose her reasoning. And so it was a very gentle dance, if you will, when she was very prideful of reconciling her checkbook, for example, and doing the math longhand to keep herself sharp. And when I began to notice that she was struggling with that, it was one of those points where, you have to begin to take over. And it was constantly that kind of a thing where you run up against a situation where, okay, it's time for me to take over. Okay, it's time for me to take over. And it just is over time, And so that's part of what this story of my experience is about, is that you don't expect it. You think you're going to get back to your life, and then, because you can't anticipate, you can't see into the future, and you just don't know what's going to happen. But that's what happened in my case and with my mom. You don't plan for it. You become reactionary as a child, and that dynamic of understanding that they're becoming more and more reliant upon you to make either the simplest of decisions, what's for breakfast, to the most critical of decisions, do we keep her on life support or do we let her go? Those are the swings of what can be the daily decisions of someone like myself's life. That becomes your normal, and you're not thinking of yourself. You put yourself on the back burner. My priority was her. And the other thing that was sort of driving that was that when my dad was terminally ill, I asked him if there was anything I could do for him, and he said, just take care of your mother. So with that voice of his in my head, that became my duty. That became my, to fulfill his wish, but also to fulfill taking care of her.
We invite you to call us, either Bob or myself, for a free 1-hour consultation on your long-term care options.